What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. It's week 17. It's championship weekend. This will be the last start sit program of the year. So what we're gonna do in this show is we're gonna go over all the relevant news. We'll go over any of your start sit questions, and we'll get you guys prepped for the final week of the season here. So let's get right into it. We got Ron hopping in here. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and hopefully a Happy New Year this weekend. This one's for all the marbles, he says. Need one in Superflex, full PPR. Minshew or Bridgewater. Also have Ayuk or Sutton. Okay. I think you're going with the quarterback in this one. I don't really trust Cortland Sutton with the Denver Broncos situation. It just reeks really bad over there in Denver right now. And then with Ayuk, there's potential for Deebo Samuel to come back here, so we might pump the brakes on Ayuk for a little bit here. But looking at the fantasy points allowed, I believe it's a pretty tough matchup for Teddy Bridgewater. So let me look here. The Patriots are in top 10, of points allowed, whereas Gardner Minshew going up against the Saints. Saints are pretty good too. Let's look at this a little bit closer in the category for quarterbacks here. So you have the New England Patriots ranking middle of the road. They allow about 16.28 points per game to the quarterback, and then the New Orleans Saints. Very similar. They're right next to him here, about 16 points per game. So I think for me, I'm nervous about Teddy Bridgewater. He has played well in a couple of his starts this season. Let's actually look at those numbers from the year. Where is Teddy B? In week 4, I think that was in relief of Tua, he puts up 10.82, and then his one start this year against the Vikings, he puts up 18.16. So the Vikings defense a little bit more forgiving than the Patriots defense. So that's a great line. But you also have to imagine this one's outdoors in New England. So I'm a little bit skeptical of Teddy, whereas Minshew, he played great against Dallas last weekend. He had a few turnovers, a fumble and 2 interceptions, but he still puts up 355, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. I think I'm going to trust Devonta Smith and AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert. I'm probably going to go with Gardner Minshew here in the one for all the marbles. So we'll go with Gardner Minshew. Let's cover up some of the news here. I'm just going to refresh on the feed. And of course, the big one tomorrow night, I guess, before we get into the news update, is the Thursday night game. We're not sure if Tony Pollard's going to play. I have to move him to questionable. And they've already come out and said that Derrick Henry is going to be doubtful. So I do not expect to see Derrick Henry tomorrow night. I'm going to say no go on any Tennessee Titans in our starting lineups for fantasy. If you're desperate and you need Malik Willis, well, you're probably not in the championship round. So I think he's probably not even on the table. Shut down Tennessee. Do not start any Tennessee Titans tomorrow night. The Cowboys, though, Dak Prescott, QB1. I think you got to start Ezekiel Elliott even if Pollard plays. Ezekiel Elliott's probably going to be the guy leading the team in snaps, carries, targets, all that good stuff from the running back position. And if Tony Pollard plays, I'm hesitant to get him out there because I don't expect this game to be very competitive. You can maybe just get a few touches from Tony Pollard. You also have the potential risk for re-aggravation of that injury. So I think Zeke is the start. I'm going to move Pollard more towards a flex toss-up play. He's more of a low-end RB2. You're starting CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, and Michael Gallup can be potentially flexed as well. So that's the big news for tomorrow night. And then let's see if we can dig in through some of these practice reports today. Looks like DJ Dallas limited for Seattle. Kenneth Walker did not practice. He's nursing an ankle injury. This might just be kind of, it's this type of the season. We might see some kind of load management for Kenneth Walker. I expect him to practice either Thursday or Friday. So expect Ken Walker to play. Marquise Goodwin not practicing. Noah Fant not practicing. So it looks like the Seahawks are giving their guys a little bit of a break today. Irv Smith coming back for the Vikings. Interesting. Jordan Mason and McCaffrey limited. Brock Purdy full participant from that oblique rib injury, which is good to see. Let me get to some of the questions here. Good evening to Harris. Hope you're doing well. Foreman or Algier, full PPR. Tyler Algier's been fantastic lately. I think he's got a decent amount of projections this weekend. He's probably a top 24 back. He's projected about 13 here on ESPN in full PPR. And the last 2 games, tough matchups. The Saints and the Ravens both on the road with Desmond Ridder. He gets 17 and 18 carries. And 4 catches for 43 yards last weekend. He didn't score last weekend. He did the week before. 15 to 22 points against a really soft Arizona defense right now. I'm probably leaning towards Tyler Algier. You see Arizona up here. They're one of the worst teams against the running back, allowing about 26.62 points per game. With Foreman, tougher matchup against Tampa Bay, and you also have to consider Chuba Hubbard back there, and they've been working in that the other running back. I think his name's William Blackshear. So I'm off Foreman. I'm going to be starting Tyler Algier if that was my team. So good question there. I think Algier is probably a guy that a lot of people are going to be starting this weekend. No Greg Dulcich. Don't expect him to play this weekend. Cortland Sutton limited. Jerry Jeudy limited. I'm going to try not to trust the Broncos in the championship game, only if you need to. Let me know if you have questions. Looks like Latavius Murray got a day of rest. The big news today was Derek Carr stepping away from the final two games to avoid the obnoxious or the obvious distraction. So Derek Carr is basically out. He's not going to be the quarterback for the Raiders next year. I would expect them to have a heavy market for Derek Carr in the trade department, whether that is trading. I mean, the New York Jets need a quarterback. Maybe the Jets, go after Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. There might be a couple other teams that enter the Derek Carr sweepstakes. So we'll watch for Derek Carr with a new team. No Devontae Adams, Derek Carr combination anymore. So it's interesting. At this point, for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs is going to be barely useful as a running back, too. It's a tough matchup against the 49ers with Jarrett Stidham at QB. I think if you have Devontae Adams, he's kind of a wide receiver 2 or 3. We're just going to downgrade all of our Raiders here. So if you guys do have Raider questions, let me know. Do I trust Montgomery? It's a tough matchup for David Montgomery. Let's look and see what Monty did against the Lions earlier in the year. He did go 9 for 37, 1 for 7, so 5.4 points. It was not a great matchup. They also, I believe they had a healthy Khalil Herbert in this game. So it was a little bit of a split. So Herbert had 10 for 57, Montgomery only 9 for 37. I don't trust David Montgomery this weekend. The Lions are one of the stingiest teams against the run right now. You can see they rank 12th, and I think if we were to look at the stats the last 4 or 5 games, we would see the Lions even probably in the top 5. So it's a tough matchup. I do expect the Lions to score points against the Bears, which maybe they're not able to run the football. So I don't think it's a good David Montgomery weekend. He's going to need a touchdown to make your day, and I don't know if I'm trusting him or the Bears offense to do it for me. Good evening to Jerry. Hope you're doing well. Let's continue with some of these player news blurbs here. Aaron Jones limited at practice. I think Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, they're kind of equals right now. I think A.J. Dillon's probably the guy that you want to play in fantasy right now. So we'll see if Aaron Jones can be up to a full practice by the end of the week. But I'm ranking A.J. Dillon ahead of Aaron Jones this weekend. Good to see J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards not on a snap count. James Conner with an illness. We'll monitor that for the rest of the week. Jerry Moose says Pollard or Akers. Full PPR and assuming Pollard is active. I covered the Cowboys at the beginning of the show. I don't know if I trust Tony Pollard. He's going to go through warmups and whatnot, but sure, Pollard could have his normal, really nice, explosive game, but you're also risking one, re-injury, and 2, this game between the Cowboys and the Titans to be somewhat uncompetitive. The Titans are not sending out their A team tomorrow night. We could see Dallas kind of pull the dogs off early in this game. So I'm not expecting a huge game from Pollard. He's going to have to hit a touchdown early for him to pay off. I think you probably got to roll the hot hand with Cam Akers, he's played well the last month or so of football. You see 34, 13, 9.3, and 19. His worst game was the Raiders. He still scored a touchdown in that game. And against the Chargers are one of the worst teams against the running back. You can see that right here. They rank 25th. They've allowed 16 touchdowns, 25.62 points per game. It's a really good spot for Cam Akers in this one. And he's kind of got the backfield to himself now, which I like to see. And just with Pollard, you're risking the re-injury, the split. I'm thinking it's a big Ezekiel Elliott game. So I would probably wait for Cam Akers. And I mean, consider this, Zach Moss for the Colts. The Colts looked like garbage on Monday Night Football, but Zach Moss still delivered 65 rushing yards and 8 fantasy points here. So I'm thinking Akers has a pretty safe double-digit floor this weekend. Pick up Aaron Rodgers and play over Kirk. I would rather play Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins. I think at home in Lambeau in the cold, Rodgers is safe for 16, 17 points. With Kirk, you never know. If this game was in Minnesota, I'd probably roll with Kirk, but I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins in this one. If you had to start Ayuk or Fournette this week for the ship, who would you choose? PPR. I'm probably going with Leonard Fournette. It's a decent matchup against the Carolina Panthers. You see they rank middle of the pack here with 22.23 points per game allowed to the running back. But last weekend, Fournette really came through for us. It looked like he was the man. He took over for Rashad White as kind of the lead dog. I'm rolling with Leonard Fournette over Brandon Ayuk, especially if Deebo Samuel plays. Deontay, Devonta, Hopkins, Waddle with Bridgewater. I need to bench one. I'm probably leaning towards you're going to get Devonta Smith in there, and I think Waddle, even with Bridgewater, is safe. It's more between Deontay and Hopkins. And Deontay hasn't scored a touchdown all year, so he might be the one that is probably the easiest to bench right now. Let me see Deontay's numbers. He's listed as questionable, but he's been playing better. 4 straight double-digit games. He had a 9.9 here, so Deontay is definitely the safest. But with DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know what happened last week. 1.4 points is not going to cut it. Against Atlanta, that is a nice matchup. You're going to see Colt McCoy come back as well. But I'm slightly nervous about the Cardinals because they just don't have much to play for in this one. So I'm probably going to lean towards benching Hopkins because his upside. You think Colt McCoy is going to throw a touchdown? I'm not so sure. So you're probably looking. He had 10 targets last weekend, so I do like the targets. But it's between Hopkins and Deontay for me. I could go either way. If you want to sit Deontay, I'm fine with that too. But those are the two that I'm looking at. So my final answer will be bench Deontay against the Ravens. And no problem, man. Yeah, we'll get some dynasty content rolling. I might take a week or so off after the regular season, but I have started looking at the 2023 wide receivers. So I'm starting to build up my profiles and start to look at some of these new players coming in. So I'm excited about the 2023 class. Mike Evans or David Montgomery PPR. Mike Evans has been pretty bad this season. Has not scored a touchdown since week 4. And you can see his last 5 games are a pretty bad trend. 5.9, 13, 8, 9, 5, 10.4, 9. He's seeing the targets though. The 8 to 9 targets per game is pretty nice. I think at this point, a game against Carolina, I'm kind of thinking Mike Evans is the better play. I like David Montgomery. They're going to have similar floors between 5 to 8 points. And Tampa Bay needs to win. They need to continue to win to stay ahead of the Panthers. This is a big game. I'm going to lean with Mike Evans. The Bears don't have much to play for. The Lions do. I'm really leaning in towards the team narratives this week where I want to avoid bad teams and lean into teams that have something to play for and win for. So I'm going to say Mike Evans in a full PPR just because he's going to get, probably 8 to 10 targets and probably get 4 or 5 catches. So I'll lean with Big Mike. Let's see here. We're expecting Tua to not play. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the guy. Ramondre Stevenson limited today. You have Tony Pollard questionable for tomorrow night. And again, if you have nobody else behind Tony Pollard, I think I'm fine with it. But I will say I think you're taking a pretty significant risk with Tony Pollard. Damian Harris limited. You got Devontae Parker not practicing. Derrick Henry again listed as doubtful. Olave limited. Not sure if we're going to trust Olave, but it's good to see him back at practice. AJ Brown limited. No Jalen Hurts today. How about Rashad White or Adam Thielen or Jerry Jeudy? I would rank them. Adam Thielen's probably last. I don't trust him on the road in Green Bay. Green Bay secondary has been pretty solid. They did allow, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to do some work, but I still don't trust Adam Thielen. So it's between Rashad White and Jerry Jeudy. I'm probably going to lean with Jerry Jeudy in that one. Jerry's looked pretty good the last month or so while Cortland Sutton's been out, and he had a good game. 6 for 117. Targets been 10, 8, and 9. He's been playing his best ball the last 4 weeks of the season, so I'm going to lean with Jerry Jeudy, close second to Rashad White. But I trust Jerry Judy's probably the guy, the one Bronco that I think is worth starting at this point. Let me see what else we got here. Sanders not practicing. It's the first practice of the week, so I'm not overly concerned. This might be a load management situation. So we'll see about Sanders. We'll monitor his practice reports the next few days. Let me see. Granson did not practice. Deontay Johnson limited. Chase Claypool, we're not worried about Chase Claypool. Latavius Murray, just a day of rest today. Good to see Tyler Lockett full participation in the team's walkthrough. So I'm leaning towards Tyler Lockett playing this Sunday here. You could probably fire him up. Alvin Kamara with a personal day. Not sure if we're expecting him to not play, but I totally would not be worried about this. Eckler limited today. Colt McCoy cleared concussion protocols. Of course, covered the Raiders already. Jarrett Stidham is going to be the starting guy today. And I think we're getting to pretty much the final news here. Bakhtiari returning to practice. Good to see. Aaron Rodgers, day of rest. Lamar Jackson not practicing today. The quote is, "As of today, it looks like another start for Tyler Huntley." So if you're waiting for Lamar Jackson, it does not seem like good news here. You have Antonio Gibson not practicing today. I mean, if you can get Brian Robinson in your starting lineup this week, I think that's a really good idea. He's set up for a huge workload against a bad Cleveland Browns running defense. Christian Watson not practicing. We'll be watching his practice reports tomorrow and Friday. Mecole Hardman gonna try and play Week 17 here. Jerry Jeudy or Montgomery. I'm going Jerry Jeudy all day. Jerry Jeudy all day over Montgomery. With the Tua concussion, they're going to have to figure that out. We might not see Tua play again this season. We'll see. The Dolphins' season might be swirling down the drain here. Big game against New England on the road this weekend. Nick Chubb says he'll play in the regular season final 2 games. Trevor Lawrence said the team would not rest its starters in Week 17. Essentially, you have the Titans and the Jags. Their games do not matter this weekend, Week 17. Week 18, it's going to be a showdown. Titans versus Jags. Winner goes to the playoffs and wins the division. So that's how to kind of operate those two teams going forward. Interesting note here that on Jalen Hurts, he might not be fully recovered by the Eagles' first playoff game, which is slightly concerning. Taylor Heineke officially benched. We're going to see Carson Wentz get the start this weekend against the Browns. Denzel Perriman. Packers signed a wide receiver, so that is kind of interesting with Christian Watson being not 100% right now. And then we're at the Tuesday note, so we're all caught up on player news. Lazard or Curtis Samuel? I'll say this, Harris. I like Curtis Samuel. Carson Wentz has liked Curtis Samuel at various points of the season as well. But if Christian Watson does not play Allen Lazard. If Christian Watson somehow plays, I think it's more of a toss-up. Either way, Curtis Samuel's kind of the number 3 receiver on that team after Jahan and Terry McLaurin. I'm going to lean Allen Lazard either way at home. Christian Watson's banged up with the hip injury. I think Allen Lazard played really, really well last weekend against the Dolphins. So I'm going to say Allen Lazard is your final guy there. But let me know if you guys have any final questions. Otherwise, I'll probably get out of here a little bit early. All the practice reports are looking like they're up here. And then I did go ahead and load up all of the start-sit charts for the week. So if you guys want to check those out, please do so. I have all the rankings in those guys up there for you. Raheem Mostert, yes or no? I'm iffy on Raheem Mostert. I think with Teddy Bridgewater, they're going to try and run the ball. The Patriots against running back, again, they rank, where are they? They're one of the best teams against the running back. So it's not a great start. And we saw last week, Jeff Wilson got into the mix a little bit more than we thought he would. So I'm leaning towards Raheem Mostert not being trustworthy in this championship weekend. So, I mean, I would rather start Brian Robinson, maybe a couple of Cam Akers over him, guys like that. I think there's a couple other players I'd rather use over Raheem. But we'll go live again tomorrow night, guys. We'll go live 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll go live about 45 minutes before kickoff. So we'll collect a bunch of information on the practice reports. If you guys do have any more final questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can either comment here on the video or find me on Twitter. You can always DM me there, TikTok, anywhere else that you guys can find me. But again, check out the start-sit charts. That can help you guys make some decisions. Check out the fantasy points allowed. And we did it, guys. We are here finally at championship weekend. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your Wednesday evening. We'll see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night in the final Thursday night live video here. So have a good one. Peace.